Shalom, shalom, Israel. You're locked in to Warriors of the Ruach, where we fight for, defend, and uphold the commandments of Abba YaHuWaH. Don't forget to go to warriorsoftheruach.com, become a member. That way you can get all access to the full videos that we drop here on this channel. And like always, like, share, and subscribe so that we can continue to bring all of Abba YaHuWaH's word. So, without further ado, let's get it.
So you ain't sorry. You gotta kiss everybody's boots. Kiss the boots of the former slaves. You understand? She proving that she's an honorable white woman, that she's different from you goddamn other devils, man. You understand? She's kissing the boots of the former slaves, man. You understand? Damn right, man. Damn right, man. Clap it up. Yeah, one more. Make sure you get that footage, man.
Most high
and if you're a true sorry, damn right, clap it up. And also you can empty out your pockets for the former slaves, man.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. This is Javon.
And Kenny Green.
And we are Warriors of the Ruach, where we uphold and defend and fight for the commandments of Abba YaHuWaH. I pray that all is well today on this beautiful day. And we just wanted to take a time to drop another episode of Let's Talk Israel. And we want to talk about abominations.
Abominations. And we know that if we go into the Blue Letter Bible, which is a reference that we use because it allows us to cross-reference different stuff, and it allows us to go back and look at things from a Hebraic perspective.
Right.
And we can kind of share with you, you know, what was originally said, because so many times we get caught up in today's translation, and a lot is lost in that translation. So we try to give you the real and help you to understand that, you know, this ain't something that we just doing what we saying, but we going back to the roots and looking at what was actually said at that time. Right.
And it's a good thing that you said that, because about the Hebraic origins of abominations and things, because there's so many perceptions out there about what an abomination is, who abominations are. We know there's a lot of camps out there. There's a lot of people that believe that certain races of people are abomination.
Right.
And we want to get to the point, we want to get to the fact, is that a personal perception, or what does the Father say about what an abomination is? You know,
exactly.
We've come to a point in time where what I'm seeing is that the script, people are trying to basically make the script fit their personal narrative, their personal agenda of what's going on. If it doesn't, that's Christianity 101.
Right.
You know, well, it doesn't really quite fit what I believe it is, so I think it means this. These people over here, they're the abomination because I was taught this or I was shown this way. So we always like to get back to the core Hebrew of the scriptures, because we know that the Christian New Testament is based off of the Hebrew. So I'm glad you said that, because that's where we like to go. We like to go back to the Hebrew. Let's get a understanding in proper context from the Hebrew and what Abba YaHuWaH thinks of abomination, because that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter what I think what it is, what it means to me, who the people are, abominations, what I think it is, because we understand and know we got to get in line with Yahuwah's word. So that's what we need to do, and that's what I'm saying. I'm glad you say about the Hebrew, because that's what we always try to do. Let's go back to the origins. Let's go back to see what Yahuwah's perspective is on any subject.
Exactly.
First.
Right. So first we want to establish abominable and abomination.
Right.
Okay. So if you, like I said, abominable occurs 23 times in the KJV. Okay. And the Merriam Dictionary definition of abominable is worthy of or causing disgust or hatred. And then another one is detestable.
Right.
So we talking about, for as abominable is concerned, is things that causes the Father to be disgusted with us, to the things that he hates seeing us do, and the things that he detests seeing us do. So that thing, the point that I'm trying to make is that thing is abominable, not that person.
Gotcha.
The person is who he created. What he hates is when what he created do things that's abominable, that he hates, that that he be disgusted with, that he detests. Okay, so that's abominable. So abomination occurs 69 times in the KJV, and the Oxford definition of that is a thing that causes disgust or hatred. Notice a thing.
A thing, okay, a thing.
A thing.
Right.
That causes disgust. Didn't say a person.
Right, or a people.
Right, because the thing that is being done is what's abominable.
The action of it.
The action of it. So you yourself, aside from that thing, is not abominable. But when you do that thing that's abominable, then you become abominable. That thing that you did.
Right.
Okay. So I wanted us to get on top of that early, so people could understand that it's not a thing. You know, the
Who don't make
abominations.
Right.
He created us all, and he created everything. Now, if you start crossing up what he created and doing those things that he instruct us in his word not to do, now you are doing an abominable thing.
Right. And just a side step. So when we talk about foods, right? The swine.
Right.
The swine is not abominable because Yahuwah made that swine to be basically the garbage picker-upper of the earth.
Right.
Now, if you choose to consume that, then you become something that Abba Yahuwah is saying is an abomination.
And because you are creating
that action to consume an animal that was not made for consumption.
That's right.
Gotcha. So the animal itself is not abominable.
Right. And you were doing an abominable act by doing something that he said don't do. And that's why it's an abomination to him, because he said, I told you not to do that.
Right.
And you're doing it anyway. Right. So now that thing that you're doing is an abomination to him. Okay, so we just wanted to kind of clear that up. Don't want to insult anybody's intelligence or anything like that. But so many times people don't understand, what's really going on, and they want to think that because, somebody does something, then they're an abomination. But it's not them being an abomination. It's their actions that's abominable to the Father that he hated. He said, hey, if you turn away from that and turn back unto me, then you good.
Right.
So anyway, we just wanted to clear that up. So from there, Jay, what you think? What you want to share right now?
What I'll do real quick is just share the definition here in the Hebrew, just so that people can understand and just get a context. And so it is H8441, and again, a disgusting thing, an abomination. It says in a ritual sense, unclean foods, idols, mixed marriages. When we talk about that, in ethical sense of wickedness. So wicked things.
Right.
Doing wicked things, you then become abominable. And there's a whole other things here. But just from the Hebrew, again, trying to get the Hebraic perspective and the right context about what abomination is. These are the abominations. So it didn't say something about a race or a creed or a people being abominable. Because there's a lot of sects out here that will say that the Europeans are an abomination. They're the abominable things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side, if we think about it, the Negroes, they became an abomination before them. They were worshiping other gods before that even happened.
They were doing those things that the Father hated, that he detested, and that he was unpleased with. And so they were abominable because of their actions.
Yeah. So are we as Hebrew abominable? You see,
no.
we got to get back and put this thing in the proper context. So it doesn't say anything about a people or anything here being an abomination. Right. So that's what I wanted to touch on real quick in the Hebrew.
And so people have things that they process differently, but what you have to understand is what the Father say concerning it.
Yes.
So we understand that I don't care if you're black, if you're white, if you're Chinese, if you're Mexican, or whatever you are. If what you are doing is contrary to the Father, it is an abominable thing.
Right.
It's something that he hates, that he detests, that he is disgusted with, because he directs us in his word to do what he would have us to do. And then when we go against that, he said, he speaks about us doing these abominable things. Right.
Which again, in here, and it says mixed marriages. And I know I touched on this on a video. However, mixed marriages, we understand that that is not talking about race, color, creed. This was talking about mixing with those cultures who were serving other gods and doing wicked things.
Right.
That's what that means. So if we bring it down, maybe a hard subject, But if you got somebody who's supposedly serving the truth and their spouse is worshiping an idol, is that then an abomination? That's a tough question to think about. So when we talk about mixed marriages, that is something, when we put in its full context, that we have to really look at and really start to break down what that's talking about. So we know that it's not a race, color, or creed. This is the act.
Right.
The act of doing that. The act of, getting with someone who's worshiping false idols.
Right.
That's the action.
Right.
But that person or that people, they are not abomination. So just want to touch on that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that stuff still happens today. A lot of people aren't fully understanding, but that's what we got to look at and really dive in. Look at what the word says about it.
Exactly.
So just wanted to touch that one because we talked about mixed marriage. So we're good.
So yeah. So when we talk about these abominable acts, it can be several things. Because the Father went down in His Word and He outlined those things that He would have us to do, but He also outlined those things that He would have us not to do.
Right.
And those things that He would have us not to do, and then we do them, then they become abominable.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So if we're going after false gods and we worshiping false gods and we got graven images or images made of wood and stone, and we are giving honor and reverence to those things, then He said in His Word that's an abominable thing. He said for a person to make a human sacrifice, that's an abominable thing.
Yeah,
it's in His Word.
Right.
So
when the Hebrews were passing their sons and daughters through the fire, they then became abominable.
Right.
Because the child wasn't the abomination.
Right.
That act
of passing that child
human
through
sacrifice
was an abominable thing to the Father. And so when we go back and look, and these are things, people, that we can pull up and we'll have them up on the screen, showing the verses and everything that you can see for yourself and go and look for yourself to reference that and see, if you go look at this verse, this is what we're talking about.
Right.
We really want you to understand that it's important for you to go look, go take a look. Don't have that, and we don't want to seem like we beating nobody up, but don't have that Christian attitude and mentality that the preacher telling me and I'm gonna believe it. Right. Nothing wrong with listening to what your pastor say, but he needs to be telling you the truth.
Yeah, and like I know, we were raised in Christianity, and I'm talking about doing it hard, people, not just on Sundays. I'm talking we was living that thing, right? So we have some insight on what we're talking about. We were for sure listening to the pastor, and we love them, and they're our family or friends or whoever, and we take their word for it. But as we grow and as we learn, we now cross-reference and check and say, hey, these things aren't lining up. And that's basically where it is. That's the first part. It's just not lining up.
Right.
So then we have to do our due diligence. You know what I'm saying? So don't just take it as face value. That happens so much today in this world. You see something, and since so many people are liking it, doing it, they figure they gravitate towards it. But it may not all be on the up and up.
Right.
So, and just because people are pulling away doesn't mean that it's all wrong and they're pulling away.
Right.
So we just have to have a humble attitude. When new information comes, don't be fearful or scared. Make time to go and research it. Take the steps and go and look, what did Abba YaHuWaH say first? And then everything after that, line it up.
Right.
Line it up.
And it's interesting because when we see here, and we'll look at a couple of scriptures here in just a minute, where we see where the Father was disgusted, that he was angered because they were serving other gods. Then why? The reason he was disgusted and irritated with them because they were doing that is because he told them in his word not to do it.
Right.
And they did it anyway.
Right. And as we see, they didn't even bat an eye that they was doing it wrong. Right. I mean, that's a whole nother level right there.
Exactly. Wasn't no shame.
No,
like
exactly.
we serving these other gods, and we know what the words say.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it anyway. We know what he said about graven images, crosses around our neck, whether it be wood, stone, metal, or iron, or whatever the case may be. Then it's something that he instructed us in his word not to do.
Right.
He didn't even say put no graven image on me and worship me.
Yeah, right.
I hadn't thought about that.
Right. Yeah. Well,
but then he gonna sign off on you putting on a graven image and then claiming somebody else.
Yeah, Musha didn't do it for one. There was no image whatsoever.
Right.
So how do you make an image of something you don't even know what it is?
Matter of fact, when they made the golden calf, the father was angered and he told Moses to go take care of that.
Yeah.
Right. Because they was down there creating a golden calf, these images,
and where
image.
they learned that from, and what that image from, where they learned that from, captivity.
Right.
So they already knew what that was. If they didn't have no images, they didn't know what to make.
Exactly.
And so that's a whole thing, with the New Testament Messiah, whatever color you want to make them. But when people think of them, they think of them in certain ways because that image there. If there was no image, what you gonna make of a New Testament Messiah?
Right.
But whole nother subject.
So, and that's so key that we touch on that aspect of it, because to me, everything after that is just, if you are serving a false god, then that trumps everything.
Right.
If you serving a false god, but then you out there doing other stuff like whatever it is, then it don't matter because you did what he said not to do, and then he also said and let you know that in his word that there is no other.
Right.
There is no other. So what are you doing?
Yeah.
You out here trying to, what he say in his word, you out there praying to a God that cannot save.
Right. It can't move, it can't speak, it can't do anything.
Can't do anything for you.
Matter of fact, you got to prop it up, what I'm saying, to hold it up. What are you doing?
Right.
That object or that person, that thing didn't bring you out of captivity.
Right. And so it's important for us to understand how critical it is. So what we wanted to do, because we didn't want to just hang it out too long, but we wanted to spend a little time. We had a few minutes, and I out here in Arizona again. Always good to come back out and visit my my family and everything, and hang out with them. And whenever me and Jay get a chance to come together like this, then we try to make sure that we include what thus saith YaHuWaH.
Right.
So we can share with people and let them see. This ain't something that we making up.
Yeah.
This ain't something that we're doing for our agenda to try to, be impressed nobody. This is what the Father would have us to do concerning his word, and that is share the truth of who he is.
Yeah. 100. I want to serve YaHuWaH alone. I want to do exactly what his word says, and what my thoughts are about it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's what he says. It's what his perspective is. It's what he says do. Not what I say, not what I want. I know when I first was coming into truth, some of those holidays were tough to let go of.
Right.
And I would want to do them, but YaHuWaH says no. So guess what? I got to put the brakes on that. It's not about me.
Right.
So that's where we coming from.
Right.
We just want to do this thing 100. Not just say it, but do it.
Right.
Live it.
And then the people that you care about, and this is my biggest thing, and anybody that's listening in, I hope you chime in and lock this in if you don't lock anything else in. If you say that you really love somebody and that you care about them, then you want them to know the truth. If they ask you a question about something, you want to tell them the truth. Why? Because you love them and you care about them, and you want them to have the very best information that they can have to make an informed decision. You can't make an informed decision with misinformation.
With bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces and things.
Because then you fill in
right
the bits and pieces on your personal perspective or your personal feelings on that subject. You need to get all those pieces before you make a call.
Exactly. And so we've just fallen victim to the same thing over and over again. And even when we go back and look at some of these scriptures, he said that your fathers, you worship God that your fathers didn't even know.
Correct.
So what are you doing?
Right.
He said, have you forgotten the wickedness of your fathers and the wickedness of the king of Judah, of the kings of Judah, and the wickedness of their wives and their own wickedness and the wickedness of your wives, which they have committed in the land of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? He said, they are not humble, even unto this day, neither have they feared, nor walked in my law, nor in my statutes that I set before you, before your fathers. Right. He said, therefore, thus saith YaHuWaH of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, behold, I will set my face against you for evil and cut off all Judah.
It's also what's interesting when you read in the JPS on verse that you're reading, it was 12, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, he was basically saying that, talking about desolation or curse, and
Right.
basically making, it says here, a mockery of those people who was doing that stuff. You who gonna make a mockery of them?
Right.
That's no joke.
Yeah. Go ahead and read 15.
Okay, 15. Jeremiah 6 and 15, it says, were they ashamed when they have committed abominations? Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore they shall fall among them that fall. At the time that I visit them, they shall be cast down, saith Yahuwah.
Now going down,
6:15.
yeah, and give us a little bit more perspective.
Right. Thus saith Yahuwah, stand ye in the ways and seek and ask for the old path where I was good, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein of. Okay, hold on. So he's saying, go back to how, you know what I'm saying, how I first established it and lay that down. You're gonna be good. But they said, no, we ain't trying to walk that way.
Right. And that
Yeah, go ahead.
And that's exactly what people are doing today. They saying that, you know what? We know what his words say.
Mm-hmm.
But we stuck on stupid.
Right,
we
right.
stuck on this New Testament Messiah.
Mm-hmm, right.
That we know that he said that beside him there is no Savior. But hey, the New Testament say that he is the Savior.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
That he is your Lord and Savior, JC.
No, man. And it's just amazing because it says go back to the old ways.
Right.
And so here we are in this, 2023, when there's all different types of thought processes that
and
go
variants
against
on different stuff.
about how women should act, right? Women don't need no man.
Yeah.
We know good and well Abba Yahuwah established what it was.
And if you are a woman, you can identify as a man, and if you're a man, you can identify as a woman.
Right. Or the other 72 genders that there are.
And that's the norm.
Yeah, right. Or you can just bypass however Yahuwah sets things up for a woman and a man, how to act, how a woman should respect her husband, vice versa.
Right.
Throw it out the window.
Right.
Alpha females and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Where alpha females like, look, I ain't trying to do what you say.
Right.
I don't want to do what you say. Let alone Yahuwah saying do these certain things. And from what you read, they weren't even ashamed that they was acting that way. Because it was acting all kinds of abominable ways.
Exactly.
So you got women nowadays, they ain't trying to follow their husband, let alone a Yahuwah man.
In Leviticus 18 and 22, it says that thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. Mm-hmm. It is abomination. It is abomination. Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. That ain't changed.
Right.
What did that change up?
And like you said, it didn't say nothing about the man or those women being an abomination. It's the act.
The act. He said, if a man lie with mankind as he lie with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. An act. A thing that he hate, that he detests.
Yeah, it didn't say these abominable men. Right? It was laying with. No, it didn't say.
Listen to what he said. He said, they shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. I don't care if you live 10 years after you committed that act. You gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
And especially if you don't turn back to it.
I was just gonna say.
And say, okay, I gotta punish you for that.
Yeah, you gotta do that. You did the crime. You gotta do the time.
You gotta do the time.
But you good.
But you good.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna destroy you.
Right, and I love how in the Hebrew Torah, where it's not only the repent piece, but it's the changing of your life.
Right.
It's to get in line, and that's opposite of the Christianity. Because growing up, how many times every Sunday I see the same people getting up there praying and asking for whatever it is every Sunday, because it's all about the repent piece. It doesn't say change your life.
Right.
It's just repent and believe. Well, okay, I'll try next time. I'll try better next week. And every Sunday they up there, same thing over and over again. But Yahuwah saying you required to change up.
Right.
So it's two totally different things. That's why you continue to pray all the time, because
you ain't changing. If you'll just change up, then the Father do his part. He'll barak.
If you become Israel, you drop all that idol worship. That's the big one.
Right.
Turn back to him alone and obey his commandments. You straight Israel. Doesn't matter on your color, race, or creed. Right. And his word says he has to protect you. He has to deliver you. He has to save you because you're his son, Israel. We've talked about that. We understand and know that he out of his own mouth said that his anointed firstborn son is the nation of Israel, not a single man, let alone whether he be Chinese, black, white, whatever. Irrelevant, because the son of Israel, according to the Creator, is the nation of Israel. Now, if you don't believe that, then you saying Abba Yahuwah's word is a liar.
Right.
It's a lie. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just sharing what thus saith Yahuwah.
I'll reiterate what I said. That if the New Testament Messiah is who he say he is, then the Father lied to us.